Welcome. I see all the schools starting to tune in. I am so excited about today's pretty exceptional, stellar panel, you guys. You are going to be able to get really an inside look of what some of the top salon spa and med spa employers are looking for. And I think this is really important for a lot of reasons. I just read an article just on my screen before I was here from Fortune that says in 18 months, it is predicted that all white collar jobs are going to be eliminated. It's just crazy what is happening right now. And in the industry of human touch, in the industry of service, there is never a more important time and also intelligent time to have a career with a skill and where you can use your hands. And so couple reasons just to be quite transparent because that's how I roll for all of you students listening in here. Two reasons really why I really wanted to do this. Number one is we have seen an increase in our pre-program surveys of students saying they want to go solo right after graduating. And we are pretty shameless of saying at Qnity that we do not believe that is the best path for most people. Your best chance to really build an income and build a sustainable career path is going to work for an incredible employer like all the ones that we have on screen here. So I want to really make sure that we address that and give you the opportunity to hear for the benefits of working for some amazing employers like you see on the screen. And number two is I have also heard an influx of people saying they can't get the job they want. That's more so with SD, I've heard, saying that they're not able to and they keep sending out applications and they can't get hired. So those are kind of the two reasons is how do we bridge the gap? How do we really make sure that you have access to really engage with some of these top employers? And part of financial and career readiness is making sure you have the right job and the next step that you take after graduation is super super important for you to build a financial livelihood in this business. So I'm probably going to talk the least out of this. I want to hear from the incredible guests. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it up right away and we are going to start with Miss Lisa to do just a quick intro and tell us, basics of where you work, what you do, a little bit about the salon and spa, or the spa, excuse me, that you're with, and then we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you, Erin. So I work for Woodhouse Spas. We have about 94, well, not about, we have 94 locations across the United States, and we offer luxury services in a beautiful high-end environment. And we offer a varying amount of services. So we offer basic facials, and then we offer your advanced facials like your skin, your hydrofacial, the glacial, fire and ice, all those. And then we also have a broad range of massage services, varying from, your Swedish body massage, it just helps you relax, right down to deep tissue massage and restorative sleep massages and everything in the middle there. So a lot of opportunity. Also within massage, we offer a lot of body services, a lot of scrubs. We have tubs. And then there's a few that you just don't see anywhere else. Like we offer Shirodara and we also offer Vichy showers. And, it's just all in a luxury environment, just helping people relax and kind of tune out of the real world for a couple hours and come into our spas. We also do, if there's any nail technicians on the phone, on the call here, some of our locations do offer nail services as well. And yeah, if you have a passion for the skills that you're great at, if you're hardworking and have a great business, like a great work ethic and love team culture, we would love to hear from you.
Amazing. And Lisa, remind us what your role is.
Vice President of Operations for Woodhouse.
Perfect. And for those folks that are still in school, tell us like what does that mean? What does your day-to-day kind of look like in a short spiel in that role?
So my day to day really, I mean, I started behind the chair, graduated beauty school in 1994. So been in this industry for quite a while. And my day to day is just really, we have 94 locations. So just setting processes in place that will work for all 94 locations, but knowing when we have to pivot as well and just working, with our innovation team, working with our vendor team, and just making sure that every one of the locations feels extremely supported from an operations perspective. I have a bunch of business coaches who work for me. So people a lot of times who were within the field at one point and they work one-on-one with these owners to teach. I was just at a grand opening last night in Wilmington, North Carolina. We had a big grand opening event at that spa. So Operations really covers anybody who's been in ops knows it's everything. Like there's no walls on ops. It kind of dives into a lot of things. Do a lot of work with our POS systems. Allie, Tim, and I were speaking about POS systems before we started this call. So lots of stuff with operations, but just making everything process orientated that works well for the majority.
Love it. And I love that you called out that you went to school, you started behind the chair, and
Good.
now you're heading up ops for a 94 location luxury brand, which is pretty incredible. All right, let's go to, I can't remember if I said Allie or Tim first, so I'm gonna go to Allie because she's off mute.
One step ahead of you. Thank you, Erin. Welcome, students. So excited to be here and speaking with each of you. Congratulations on making this as your next chapter in your career, and hopefully your a career for a lifetime. I think it's really important to also say that what all of you do is so much more than just doing hair or skin or massage or nails. It is impacting lives daily with what you do and the energy that you bring to each and every guest. So it's a really important job, and it's a really, really important job now more than ever. I lead the life spas. So we're located inside of Lifetime Fitness. And we're a huge ecosystem. So when you come into our world, you're connected with thousands of members that are coming through our doors each and every day. So we've got a benefit of having a built-in business, which is amazing for you guys that are coming out of school and needing to build a business, because that is what results in your long-term longevity in this career. And so I love this. I've worked in freestanding salons and spas. I've also worked for Estee Lauder companies and did education for Aveda and worked with a lot of freestanding salons and spas. And the number one piece of business that we worked on for those salons and spas is new guest acquisition. And that's the most important thing for you students right out of school. And again, we've got new members joining our clubs each and every day. We've got new guests walking by our doors each and every day. So that's a little bit about us. I think we're probably the best kept secret because we are a business within a business, but we're full service. We've got 160 locations across North America and including Canada. So I think another point of difference for us is also that if you move or if you have a job change or a life circumstance happens, we can usually keep you employed by Lifetime and move you around the country. And we have a lot of team members that do end up doing that with us. Trying to think of any other important pieces here. I'm super passionate. I started out at the front desk. My job back then was taking orders from all of my technical team members. That's how I learned to do what I do now. And I wouldn't say that it's much different today. My job is taking everybody's orders, moving roadblocks, removing barriers, and making sure that you build a successful career, because I want you to have a career of a lifetime at Lifetime.
Oh, I love that. And I think that's such an important call out too for all of you students. The number one challenge is how to get butts in your chair or on your beds, right? That's the number one challenge to starting to build earnings, and that is the benefit of working for a really established brand. And I love that element of, you even Life Spa is a business within, or Life Spa and Salon is a business within a business. So thank you so much. Allie, did you say how many locations you have?
160.
Okay.
My tagline is always you can, because I know a lot of students are in the gym. I see you guys on Instagram always promoting your fitness and your beauty regimens. I always say you can build your booty and your business at Lifetime.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's go to Tim.
Hello, everyone. Tim Wendler. I'm the COO of Rescue Spa. I have been doing this for about 23 years now. I've been in the beauty industry. I started for a company up in Bucks County. I worked there for about 18 years, and I started with Rescue Spa over 4 years ago. So we have two locations, Philadelphia, right in downtown Center City, and Manhattan. We are right outside around Flatiron. And currently we have 85 employees in Philadelphia, and I think we have almost 85 now in New York City. So 21 years we've been in business as a company, and we've been in New York City for about 8 years. So 8 years this year in December. We also have an e-commerce platform, which is very important. So as you know, in this industry, when you have products
Hey,
and you have
Tim.
retail in
Tim, your
addition,
camera just went off, just FYI.
I saw
There
that
we go.
happening. So as you sell product in this industry, whether it's skincare or hair, all of those products are accessible online and should be accessible online. So you'll learn about that when you're in the industry. And people who have multiple brands, I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to keep talking. I'll fix it in a minute. So as you have multiple brands entering your salon or entering your spa, e-commerce is extremely important. And there's a career there as well. So social media, all of those things that come with the industry are important. In addition, we have launched a skincare line that has now been selling internationally for approximately 3 years, which is amazing. So I think the most important thing for me is the communication between the students and the employer. I think there's a huge gap. I think the expectations from the students toward the employer are not clear. And I think it's very important to hold these seminars so we can bridge the gap. I'm happy to be here. My camera hopefully will, I don't know what's going on with it,
I love it.
but we will
Thank
fix
you,
it.
Tim.
Happy to be
And
here, Erin. Thank you.
yeah, and what I will say, because I am a regular client, because I live in Philadelphia, so I'm a regular client of Rescue Spa. It is
Mhm.
a stunning, stunning space.
Thank you.
And what is very unique from a consumer perspective that I've been fascinated by is the training. I have never seen the same SD uh, once at Rescue Spa because I don't care because I know I'm going to get the same service, and I don't typically do that at others. And so I think that's something I'd really like you to because you have quite a robust training process. I actually know a lot of folks on this call have a pretty robust training process too. So we'll talk more
Yeah.
about that too. Let's go to Haven.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I am a co-owner of Deep Roots Hair Salon in Austin, Texas, and we also have a med spa, Skin by Deep Roots, that we opened a few years ago. We've been in business for 8 years, and I have a business partner that is behind the chair, and I'm purely operations, systems. I set up a lot of trainings, everything like that, managers. We are really known for our education program. So we have a huge education program. It's very robust. We have, I don't know, 15 educators. We have an app, we have courses. It's very organized, well thought out, and we just keep trying to evolve it as we grow. It's really the cornerstone of our business. It's how we've been able to grow from 7 employees to over 70 employees in a very short time. And so it's really important to us that we maintain our brand. And so the only way to really do that is to make sure you have a really good training. And so that is like kind of what we're known for in the Austin area is our education program. We're a really
Amazing.
high level salon. So we offer, the extensions, colors, color, keratins, cuts, all the things, full service hair salon. And then on the med spa side, we're injectables, skin treatments, those types of things. But really, truly, what is the most important thing to Melanie and I, my business partner, is the relationships. I feel like more and more as the world starts becoming more digitized, more automated, you call any major business and you're going to talk to a robot. It's really important for us to still have that human connection. And I think as we evolve as a society and just a world at large, that the relationship part and the communication part is going to have so much more value than it ever has. And so for us, like really honing in on developing relationships with our clients and with our staff and making that the core of our business is really important to us. And so as new people looking to go out into the world and start a new career, having a really solid communication foundation is non-negotiable.
Mm, Okay, I love it. I can't wait to get into all of the skills momentarily here. And so, Haven, and I think the really amazing thing to call about Haven is and Mel is for those of you who have dreams of eventually becoming a salon or spa or med spa owner. Haven, I'll have you talk about this more later, but having a good business partner to bridge the gaps of your weaknesses is pretty critical. Daniel, I know that you can also really speak to that too. And so Haven really has a business partner who is a strong producer, super creative. I mean, like top of her game. And Haven is a really exceptional financial businesswoman. And so those two being able to merge together, I think really are what I have seen separate, the best salons and spas and med spas from the ones that just kind of exist. And I think it's the same with Daniel too and with Jody. So With that being said, let's go to you, Daniel.
I'm learning so much. This webinar is not even for me. I'm sitting here like, wow, to be among so many great people. And so to Haven's point, like really understanding that communication piece, it's every single thing that is who we are. Getting those skills. I was making a video yesterday for social media that's about to come up. We learn all the skills, right? We learn facials, nails, hair. We learn everything that we can in school, but what we don't learn is the communication and the emotional intelligence piece, how to read the room, how to connect with guests. You know, if you're a Gen Z, which I'm sure a lot of you are, you're a Gen Z, maybe even Alpha coming into the workspace. How do you connect with someone that is a millennial or a Gen X, or even there are still cases where there's boomers inside of our company or inside of companies in all of our companies here. So making sure that you have that. Erin, to your point, when you first came on, you were talking about community and working with other people, working in a company that has a brand recognition. That is also important. I think TikTok has played, so I live in the social media space pretty heavily. So TikTok has played such a role in all of our businesses on showing people what maybe isn't necessarily the real normal, the real process of how we succeed. So make sure that you're linking yourself to someone that truly is credible when you're getting into the space. I love quotes, so I'll give you one right now. Is salt and sugar, they look the same, and you don't know the difference until you taste it. So make sure that if you're hitching your horse, as I say here in Georgia, to someone, make sure it's someone that is truly successful, like this panel of people that are here today. And I know there's also the mindset of if I work for someone, I'm not as good. And I could tell you, I would love to be the CMO or the CFO or CIO of Disney or Delta or any of these companies because they're doing okay. But with that being said, making sure that you're strengthening your skills as a communicator. Haven hit that so beautifully. Wherever you are in the United States, there are so many groups. There's one called Toastmasters. I would highly recommend getting into something like that. They're free and you can learn to communicate. So our salons here in Atlanta, Georgia, we started almost 21 years ago now. June will be 21 years. We started with 4 people. It was myself, my husband, and our 2 associates. And we thought, we can do this. We were the busiest people in the salon, which is not why you open a salon. But circumstances, the salons we worked in were closing. So there was a lot of things that put us to where we are today. And we really started to lean into systems. And at that time, there weren't communities like Qnity. There was really not a lot of those things that we were aware of. So I was looking into other corporations like Ritz-Carlton or Chick-fil-A. I wanted to see how these business models were working and how could I translate their behaviors and systems into the beauty space. So that really got us started. And the company just continues to grow, which is a beautiful thing. And but it comes down to your brand. So as you're in wherever you are now, if you're in school, you need to start working on what your brand is. Who are you and what is it that you're looking for? I think, if you're looking for a spa, you're looking for a med spa or a hair salon or barbershop, whatever it is that you're going into, you need to find a place that really resonates with who you are, your values. And that's some of the greatest advice I could give you today. And I'm going to stop talking because I'll talk nonstop. And there's so many brilliant people here right now. I want to hear from you too. So
Daniel is also an incredible educator. I mean, he's like a highly sought out educator for all the top brands. So you will see, I mean, this is like you can see you're truly an educator by heart, Daniel. And so one thing, because you went right into sharing tips, tell me, salon location, how many team members you have?
So we are just north of Atlanta, Georgia. We're in Milton and Johns Creek, Georgia, which is Alpharetta. They change our names often where we are, but we're north of Atlanta and we are 90 employees right now. And right now we are getting so many interviews, and a lot of the people are coming from what was prior known as the independent movement from 2020. We're seeing a lot of people leave. That's like a mass exodus, and they're coming into more structured companies that have true benefits and true freedom.
Fascinating.
Can I say, Erin,
can
I say something onto that real quick?
Please.
So to piggyback off of Daniel about the applications, I just wanted to say that we also have had a huge influx of applications as well. And one of the biggest things that we look for is like on the application is for somebody to indicate that they're very coachable. So I just wanted to I had a little light bulb when you were saying that, just for everybody watching, coachability is a huge green flag for anybody like looking for employees.
That's fascinating. Okay, Tim, I think you were
Awesome.
going to say something too.
Yeah, Daniel, great points. Thank you so much. Find your brand. I don't think there could be more of an important sentence to deliver here because we have so many applicants. I mean, we have 20 to 30 a day, no
Mm,
exaggeration. And
wow.
people are so, I don't want to say uneducated, but they don't know who they're applying to. They don't know the history of the business. And then
Mm,
they come on and we wasted your time and you've wasted your own time. Find your brand, find your passion, find who aligns with what you're looking for and what you want to do. Do a little homework, educate
Mhm.
yourselves. That
yes.
super
Okay.
important.
Absolutely.
That is such a good call out. And so, a couple things I want to go back to before we go into the skill gap here. One of the things that I love most, because I want to make sure I call out all these companies, one of the things, Daniel, that I want to say, and we'll come back to, is Daniel's passion is also helping women with financial freedom, right? That's like a cornerstone mission of yours. And I think finding leaders and finding brands like that, that really like sometimes your leaders and owners want financial freedom for you and financial success more than the people themselves working actually want it, right? And all the leaders are nodding because you're like, yep, yep. And if you have someone like every single employer on here, you guys, we wouldn't have had them on here if we didn't believe they do that. Um, Gives you the playbook to do that, right? I know you guys have, we can talk about some of the employees on your team here making a pretty remarkable living as an employee. And there's not a lot of conversation about that. The stories that you will see on TikTok and Instagram is you can make more money going here, or the quote unquote boss babe mentality. It's not easy to go alone, guys. And you don't have to do that just because you think it's been sold to you as kind of the vision of success, right? There's a lot of visions of success here. And so really finding what is the most meaningful for you, right? And starting off in a place where you can grow. So let's go to the next section here, which is really, and I think I saw a lot of themes, which is educate yourself, coachability, communication. And you guys are getting this from like the people in charge of hiring people. This is I mean, the owners and leaders of the business, right? And I think this is gold. So I really hope you guys take this and apply it because they just kind of gave you keys to stand out against all of these other applicants. So let's go to Lisa. From a Woodhouse perspective, um, just go to what skills or traits do you think are missing? And or what advice would you give to students to stand out? Either one of those. You're on mute.
It's not a webinar if someone doesn't talk when they're on mute, right? So
100%.
I got rid of
100%.
that for the rest of you. All right. So it's really the interpersonal skills, the making eye contact, the really wanting to talk to you, to get to know you. Sometimes people come in and they're just they almost seem bored during an interview, or they just seem just not engaged in it. And then that goes back to piggyback on everything Daniel, Haven, and Tim just said. Know about our brand. Like, be excited. Know when you're coming to interview for us, you want to work for a Woodhouse because we want to help you make the best choice. And so we're super transparent with you. Like, here's all the wonderful things about us and everything, but then it's all the expectations of you too. So I think just being able to really show your professionalism right at the beginning. We are, and like everyone else on this call, we all are, higher end salons and spas. And so we need you to be able to treat our guests that way and have those nice, kind conversations and just be able to communicate with your clients really well and really to be able to communicate with your team really well. And so when you finish an interview, make sure to come to interview with questions. When people don't come with questions, I think we as the leaders, we can perceive that as they're not really interested. If they haven't asked me about all of at least a few things about the company, and not like the typical ones that you're going to see that AI is going to tell you to ask, but
Mm.
ask the ones that you truly, thanks, Daniel, ask the ones that you truly want to know about this company. And you don't need to phrase it as this would be a deal breaker for me, but ask those deal breaker questions. It really helps us to get to know you better as well. And so we can provide a great work environment for you. And something a little, well, it's not little, it's big, but it sometimes can seem little, but scheduling demands. So any of us who started out in this business and have done different ways of it, you can't always start on Monday from 9 to 3, Monday to Thursday 9 to 3, and have every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, and you don't want to work weekends and stuff like that. So, we notice a lot of people come in with very limited scheduling flexibility. And it's not like we expect you to be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you need to be there when the demand is there. You need to be there when the guests want to be there. And, a lot of the guests in our spas are working individuals, and so they want to come later in the day. They want to come on Saturdays and Sundays. So, make sure you're willing to give that to the team, especially when you're building your business. Once you've built your books and you can be busy all day, I don't care if you want to work 3 a.m. to noon. Like you work when your books are going to be full, but when you're new, you have to be willing to work when the demand is there. And that's 100% for you. It's so that your books can be full.
Mm. I'm sure everybody could have a lot to say on scheduling demands. And that's such a benefit of this industry. I mean, we're an industry filled with predominantly women who are balancing the need to, grow and make a living and also be, moms if that's what their choice is, right? And so, but I totally agree with that. We hear that a lot of people want to make more money but work less hours, right? But it takes time for anyone in their career to get like that, right? I'm sure everyone can speak about that. So thank you, Lisa. Let's go to Allie. Same questions for you.
Yes, I think this generation is incredibly ambitious. And I love that about you guys. I also think that the piece that needs a little bit of sharpening is that patience. And it's the patience to build your books. And the best way to do that is with an employer that can help you fill your books, right? And to Lisa's point, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we see the most new guests evenings, Wednesday through Friday, and on the weekends. And I think most of the leaders on this call are probably open 7 days a week. Sundays are a wonderful day to build your business for spa team members. And we usually don't have many stylists working on Sundays. It's a great day to get new guests. And as a student coming out of school, hopefully you'll retain some of those folks that you work on while you're in school, and you make sure make sure they have your handle and they know where you're going so they can follow you. But in order to continue to build that business and get that freedom and flexibility that you want to have to have a solid book of business. And that way, then you can start to shift from weekends and start working earlier on in the week and eventually drop those weekends. We have people that do that all the time, but they have to have a solid book of existing clients in order to be able to do that. So it's just that patience and having that grit. And then the biggest piece in making a successful book is being able to build relationships. So I think everyone has already echoed that as well. I won't do too much repeat on that, but standing out, also go introduce yourself. Even if you don't get a call back from an application, go in and meet, whoever the salon leader is or the spa leader is in your local area and the place that you want to go work. We love that. And that is a huge point of difference. If someone comes into one of our establishments and says, "Hey, I'm Lisa. I just graduated. Could I get a tour? I would love to learn more about this place. What are your benefits? What is it like working here? Could I talk to another team member?" Oh my gosh, I think my leaders would fall over. So build relationships and go in and just go for it. It's scary, but it is the best way to really hit the ground running.
I love it. I love the patience elements. I think that's really, really important that this industry, it does take time, you guys. And knowing that right now before you graduate, because anything takes time, any career takes time. And I think this one especially, just knowing that it'll help you kind of enter the building process. So thank you, Allie. Let's go to Tim.
Very good points. This is a long journey. This is not the short term, make the money and run. And the catch 22 is it also can be that, right? So that's the problem with students coming out of school. They can go to a chair or they can go to a room or a cabin and they can make the quick dollar. But if you really want to do this the right way, it's building the relationship. It's learning the business, and you have to have passion. The number one thing that you need when you come to an interview with me is passion and drive. Period. Talent is talent, and skill can be taught. You cannot teach passion. You cannot teach drive. You cannot teach commitment and motivation. So when your energy is there, we see that. As employers, we see your energy. I will take energy over years in the business any day. That's just my honest answer. So I always teach my staff, the money will follow. Come into work every day. Love your client. This is a customer service industry. If you didn't know, you are in customer service. So you have to love people. You have to want to make people feel beautiful inside and out. And when you do that, your clients will give you everything you need. The paycheck will follow. I promise. I've watched it over and over again. I have an example of an esthetician who I hired. I don't know. She had about 7 years experience, very educated, very skilled. And I have another esthetician who came right out of school, which typically someone like me and someone like the businesses on this panel, we don't do. But you have to take a chance. If you feel the energy is right, then you take that chance. This employee, after a year and a half, has now won awards. Her retention is through the roof. Her paycheck has surpassed the 7-year employee, all because she committed to her career. She committed to coming in and working and taking guidance and being open-minded. You have to learn from the people before you, whether it's the employer or the other technician. You don't know everything. And the sooner you put your hands up and say, you know what, I'm teachable, you'll go far.
Brilliant. Love it. Love everything that's being said. Let's go to Haven.
Coming after all of y'all, I'm like, okay, well, everything I was going to say, you already touched on. So that's kind of unfair. No, I'm kidding. But literally all of that, you have to be, I think, coming in and being eager, like showing an eagerness, being prepared. Daniel touched on that. It's when people come into interviews and don't even know anything about the business. I'm like, why did you apply if you don't know anything about our business? So coming prepared, like doing your homework, making sure you know about the business you're applying for, showing an enthusiasm for what you do, showing the ability to think more long term. So a lot of times people want to skip all the steps necessary to be successful, and there is no shortcut. It's consistency, it's being coachable, learning from people who already have made the mistakes, and you're learning from them. And just like the relationship piece is super important, communication, all of it. And you can't skip any of those steps if you really want longevity and you want to be successful. And I think the new generation coming up is a little impatient, back to Ali's point, and a little bit more short-term thinking instead of like thinking more long-term. And it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're going to run out of fuel if you're trying to do all of it by yourself, if you're trying to immediately go to being a solopreneur, and you're skipping all of the good, amazing resources that you could have from people who have already done the hard things and have already made the mistakes and have learned from it. So you're kind of doing yourself a disservice in a lot of ways by not allowing yourself to learn from those people. And another thing is, thinking like you don't have anything else to learn after you graduate from cosmetology school or esthetician school or what have you. I view those types of things as like your high school diploma, kind of, and then you still have, to further your career and learn, or I guess it's like a doctor, you go to medical school, right? Well, you can't just immediately go into practicing. You go to like your residency and you learn, more hands-on, and you're like in it, with patients, and that's the same kind of concept. So you're learning skills, you're learning a little bit of a foundation, but there's so much more to learn by being in the business and doing that with people who have already had success and who have already had a lot of employees, in many cases, like hundreds and hundreds of employees with success. Why wouldn't you want to like take that formula and run with it, And so for me, seeing people that just want to skip all these steps and not like be patient with the process. That's kind of the thing I'm seeing a little bit more of. And it's just, unfortunately, like, there is no shortcut. It is just something that you have to be, open to the long-term process of it, and it's not that you can't get there quicker than some people if you're willing to put in the work and the time, and you have the grit, and you have the work ethic. We have employees who finish our program and make $100,000 within a year. And then we have some that have been with us 5 years and haven't hit that mark. It's up to you at that point, but somebody has to give you the skill set, and you really are doing yourself a disservice if you're not being patient with that process of, developing more than just what you learn, the basics.
You guys are getting such gold here. Okay, closing out this last question, and then we'll move to our final question before we wrap with Daniel. Daniel, what are your thoughts? Advice to stand out and become more hireable and marketable, or what do you think the biggest skill gap is missing?
There is so much great. I was going to say good on here. It's great. Good's the enemy of great. This panel, I'm telling you, I feel like we need to be connected after this. So yeah, standing out, it comes down to personality for me. When someone walks into the salon, I can tell you right away if they walk in and they're on their cell phone scrolling, which is typically, how we live as Americans. They're pretty much already disqualified for me. If I see them walking around the retail area, taking in the different brands that we carry and just becoming familiar with that, or picking up service menus, that kind of thing, or even just looking around the salon, that stands out. And I think that's huge. Now, some of the other points that were made here were so good, and it automatically took me to a quote that someone said a long time ago, and I've kind of kept it with me forever. You hear people say that they've done their skill, whether that's hair, skin, nails, massage. They've been at it for 25 years. And my internal thought, my internal dialogue is always this: does this person have 1 year of experience that they have repeated for 25 years? Or do they have 25 years of educated, increased experience? And so, we're always pushing. And I know, without knowing everybody in the panel here, I know for a fact that if there's a webinar or a class or a book or a podcast or anything that's going to make us better, that's what we're doing on the weekends. And that is truly what sets us apart. And even the people that are sitting in the beauty schools right now, or that will watch this recording later, you have to ask yourself, how committed are you? And when I see the stylist that, the 100,000 in the first year, or 100,000 never happens, that for me comes down to one thing, and we call it hunger pains. And so when I look at people, I have to ask myself, how hungry is this person? Because what I know for a fact is, if I'm hungry, I will always find food, no matter what my economical situation is going to be. If I'm truly desperate for something, I will find it. So you really have to stay hungry and stay educated always. And the biggest thing is, once you get to where you think you want to be, or you hit those benchmarks in your career, staying humble. And then the most important part is, after you get there, helping someone else get to where you are, understanding the responsibility and the calling that all of us have in this industry to serve and create a better environment for other people to come.
I'm so glad you said that. It's so interesting. I just had this conversation with my husband. He is a cancer doctor, and he had a patient that came to him. This patient went to 3 different hospitals, and the cancer was not caught. And then this hospital found it. It is any industry, you guys. There are good professionals, there are average professionals, and there are ones that just, they don't study, they're not on the latest research. And so, Daniel, the fact that you said that is truly gold. I mean, like, just because you're graduating school, I think that's what we're seeing a lot. It's like, well, beauty school didn't teach me what I needed to know, or whatever. It's like, no, you have to keep teaching yourself. You have to keep having the hunger. You have to keep learning if you want to truly be a professional. So thank you for saying that, Daniel. I think that is really true in all careers, you guys, especially this one. Okay, we're going to do the final call. And so this is really where I want each of you guys as employers just to, like, make the I think we probably have made the case, but just make the case for working for a great company, and anything that you think is really unique about each of your employer places of employment. So if you could also just remind the professionals of the name of your business, and just the unique elements that make, say, Lisa, for you, Woodhouse, and so special for not just the clients, but also the team members that get to work there.
Right. So as Erin said, I'm with Woodhouse, if anybody was getting confused who we all are. And something to piggyback on about Woodhouse that Allie mentioned earlier as well is, because we're all over the country, we do have so many people who relocate. Like I'll go into a spa and this person's like, "Oh, I've worked at your one in Atlanta and I've worked at your one in Florida and I've worked at one in California." And I'm like, "Wow, as their lives change, they also, you can just stay and just keep building and learning your skill and getting better and better at each spa." So, what else is unique about Woodhouse is like we really want to be the best part of everybody's day. So, when guests come in, we realize they may have had a long day, they may have had a bad day, a bad week, and stuff like that. What can we do to just make sure we were the best part of their day? Because when you come to a spa or a salon, there's really nowhere you can go in the rest of your typical day that you can really be the best part of their day every single time. I mean, these people are coming from work. That's usually not people's, best time of their day, or they just ran to Target or they did something like that. And so if you can really embrace that you have that much impact, it's really great. And we really stress that a lot at Woodhouse. Gosh, we really covered so much in other things. We're also unique in everybody said it, but we're always teaching and learning. And we have that. You can get that at a local level and you can have that at a national level too. And then being in this business, you always have to be innovating. So we have a large innovation team that is just like, what are the new tools that are out there? What are all the hype words right now? Obviously, we've brought on a Korean skincare line because everybody, that's the hype right now. A lot of lymphatic treatments and things like that. So we don't jump on the bus of every little trend that comes, but we really watch and really monitor the environment to really know, what is going to bring our service providers even more success and keep them interested and happy. So they do want to make a career with Woodhouse.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lisa. Allie. Oh, you're on mute now.
So sorry about that. Let's see here. So why working for a company first matters? Well, all of the things that we've all talked about, but we love being able to help set you guys up for success right out of the gate, whether that's through an apprenticeship program, a mentorship program, to make sure that you're not having to do it all by yourself right out of school. I cannot imagine trying to build a business and own my own marketing and figure out where to buy all my supplies and doing it all by yourself. So we want you to be surrounded by a team. Hopefully you got in this industry because you love working with people. You might need to rethink that one if that's not the case, but hopefully that is not the situation that you're in. And we want to surround you and uplift you, and we want you to be inspired by the other team members that you're working with and learning from in a variety of different capacities. And again, within our ecosystem, I am with Life Spa inside of Lifetime. Within our ecosystem, we love for you to be able to build businesses through our team members. We've got hundreds of team members that work within our space, and of course, then with all of our members. The cool thing about Lifetime is that we again have a business within a business, and everybody's already very interested in wellness when they come into our space, and beauty and services to help with all of that, especially when it comes to even things like skin fitness, recovery, muscle recovery, body work, all of that. So again, we want you to be successful. We want you to be built up with a team. We also love recognizing our team members. So no matter if you're brand new or you've been with us for almost 3 decades, for as long as we've been open, we want to make sure that you are recognized and celebrated and supported. And we want you to get on whatever career development path you want to be on. Maybe once you've been in the industry for 15 to 20 years, if you want to become a leader, we have that option. If you want to become an educator, we have that option. If you want to, the career possibilities are truly endless in this career. And there's no better career out there, you guys. I'm telling you, you made a great move. It's a wonderful industry. It's always changing, always innovating. And we want to just help set you guys up for success in that and make sure that you get to wherever your end goal is that you want to be. And that's really hard to do on your own. The last thing that I'll say is that, it can be a little scary. I think probably Lisa deals with this a lot as well. Going to a corporation, right? In our industry, it's not probably the coolest place to go as a big corporate. We're not a big corporate at the end of the day. I know frontline team members in every single one of our 160 locations, again, because that recognition piece is so important to me personally, that I know you guys, that I'm your biggest cheerleader, that you feel like you're not amongst a sea of thousands of technical team members, and that you truly feel like you're one and only, and that we're setting you up for success. So I would say that it can feel a little scary going to a corporate, and it doesn't need to. And during COVID, we were able to retain benefits for all of our team members. There are a lot of other benefits that working for a corporation can support, and all of these other bigger locations as well, that a lot of smaller businesses can't always support. So I would say those are some of the key highlights of working for a corporation or a company or a bigger company, in addition to being able to pay for time off. When you work for yourself, you can't pay for yourself to go on vacation, and we like being able to set you up for success on that end too, and paying for what we call paid time off or vacation pay.
Amazing. So good. Okay, let's go to Tim.
Tim from Rescue Spa again. So we pride ourselves on being the best. That's what all of us up here probably thrive for, and we thrive in the industry that way because we really don't settle for mediocrity, right? And we want to bring on talent that wants that for themselves, right? And I don't think anyone going out and working by themselves in a studio is going to thrive because you're thriving off of your own energy. So here we have 190 employees, and all of them have amazing assets. Why would I not want a team of 190 people behind me versus a mirror, right? And I'm not saying people can't be successful on their own, but learn the industry, learn what you're doing. You have creativity, you have passion, technicians and hairstylists and estheticians. They're creative brains. It doesn't mean you can't have a business brain, but when someone goes to school for beauty and someone goes to school for business, they're both difficult. So let yourself evolve in one area. And if you want to add to later, amazing, do that. But learn the industry and learn what will make you successful. Some of the most important things, and most of them were mentioned, but, having a large ability to make a grand paycheck. Yes, you can do your clients and you can pocket all the money if you're working on your own, which isn't the reality, but some people think it is. But when you're working for a company, the money's there, the stability's there. You have a marketing team, you have a social media team, you have someone who's doing your inventory. If you don't know how impossible inventory is, you will learn if you go on your own because it's a whole job in itself, and everyone's shaking their head because they know. Managing client relationships. Why would you want to take away from the time with your client in the chair when you're being creative and your passion to do inventory, billing, invoices, medical insurance? It's part of the business that I feel like is important, but should be left to the professionals that love to sit behind a desk and do that. So have them as part of your team where you can come into work every day and please your client and then go home with no stress, right? I have 2 employees who came to me in the past 4 years, and they both own their own, and they've both been in the industry for 20 plus years, and they're ending their career with me. They're ending their career here because they want to come to work. They want to get a stable paycheck. They want to grow their paycheck. They want to have a beautiful day at work and go home. It's that simple, right? It's a beautiful life for them. So I think the other important thing in closing is scale. Let the company scale and grow within the company, right? So you can come in as a junior designer, a junior esthetician, as the company is spending their time and energy on marketing and making themselves better. Because remember, in the beginning of the conversation, you've branded yourself. As Daniel mentioned, you've signed up with the brand that you align with. So let them grow and grow within, and then work smarter, not harder. And then also in the beginning of the conversation, we talked about working those, very unrealistic hours. Some of my estheticians work Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 5. That's it. And they make a great living because they have structured their life here with us and work smarter, not harder, to then live their life on the weekend. And their clients follow because they put the time into the relationship. Those things, I'm so passionate, as you can hear, because this is what we do all day long. And we want to give this to you. That's our goal.
I mean, you guys, I'm telling you, if you have just listened to what you have heard here, you guys have just been given the golden ticket. So listening is one thing, and then embodying and acting and applying is another thing. So I really hope you guys are all listening. We have Haven and Daniel on this question left. So instructors and classroom leaders, we are going to open it up for questions. So go ahead if you want to assemble the questions, because you are going to have to put them in the chats or in the chat. And we'll do what we can to take some of those questions, whether you want to direct them to a specific panelist or just a specific question. Please go ahead and gear those up and start putting them in the chat box as we wrap with Haven and Daniel here. All right, Haven, to you.
Daniel had, or Tim just had some amazing points, and I was just like, as he was talking, I just like all these little things were like popping in my head. But basically, going back to my partnership with my business partner, she's a creative behind the chair. I am the business side, the system side, and she gets to do what she loves to do and focus on what she loves and bring that great experience and really thrive in her craft, because I handle all the stuff she doesn't love. And let's just be honest, if you're going to hair school, you probably don't really love a lot of the business stuff. You know, you probably love the creative part, you probably love the people part, you probably really don't love the the budgeting or the systems or the inventory, what have you. And so while a lot of people, and I think there was this trend to like make it really shiny and attractive to like be on your own, but being on your own means that you don't get to pull the resources that you can pull from all these other people who have learned before you, who have made the mistakes before you, who are better at certain things and that you can learn from. You don't know what you don't know. So when you're new to this industry, there's so much that you haven't even come across yet because you haven't been in it yet. And so when you can piggyback off of what other people have already done and done well, you're setting yourself up for a fast track, and when you're trying to figure it out on your own, it's going to take you so much longer to figure it out by yourself. And people, when you're in a community and there are people that are performing really high, you're naturally going to rise to that level. You're going to be kind of in some ways pushed to rise above what maybe you've even set for yourself. So being around people who are doing well and are successful just in general makes you want to strive for more and to do more and to be better and to be more. So I think it's just having that community, having those peers and examples and mentors to help you get ahead is super important. And I also believe that, focus on what you love. Time is valuable. We don't get a lot of it. And as you get older, you start to realize like it really is a thief. And, I'm like very, very greedy with my time now because I have my family and I work really hard. And so why am I going to do more and take more time to do the things that I don't even really enjoy doing? And for what? Because when you really look at it at the end of the day, maybe you in theory are making more money, but are you? Because when you factor in all the time that you're spending on doing all the things that you don't love, like the inventory and the systems and all these things, really when you divide it out by your time, you're actually in a deficit. So it's really, I think you have to think of it in a bigger picture and decide for yourself like what makes sense, because a lot of times there's this false sense that you're making more, but you're actually making less because you're making less for your time, and I've actually Melanie and I have had many employees who during that wave when it was popular for people to go out on their own did it and then came back and asked to come back because the reality wasn't what was sold to them. The reality is it's not as glamorous as it seems, and being on your own is hard because you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of, or if you're having a challenging client situation, you don't have that support, you don't have that back and forth and just that community. And I think if you choose the right salon that has the things that you're looking for and that aligns with your values, then it's the best of both worlds. And that would be my advice to anybody, is to just, don't think of it so much as being on your own versus being in a company. It's picking the right people to be around and the right values to align. And if all of that fits, then that is the recipe for success, is finding that like sweet spot and then really being open to learning from other people, because they have already done it. They've already made the mistakes. They've already spent hours and hours and hours like figuring it out. So why would you want to reinvent the wheel, just learn from them. So that's my take.
So brilliant. I mean, you said so many things about time and everything. And I'm sure everyone on this call is like having nuggets that pop up when everybody says something, but especially because I believe when I've done surveys, we have, surveys that we've done on all of you, about 68% say they are Gen Zers, right? So we also know that there's some career changers that are listening in this room too, but predominantly you guys are in the, younger stages. And there is an amazing book called The Defining Decade. If you guys haven't read it, it's about why your 20s are the defining decade in your life. I used to send this to all my people. Now I'm in my mid 30s. But to what Haven said, where you choose to go after beauty school is a very, very important decision. So just keep that in mind because it will really help shape, where your career goes next, especially while you're in those building years. Okay, going to Daniel, and then we're getting close to time here. So please, I've heard lots of amazing feedback, and make sure you share it in the full chat if you have them, and then post your questions if you've got them. And we've got about 4 minutes. So Daniel, take us away.
This has all been so great. And just to echo and join my friends here, we saw this massive, like I said, there was this movement for independence. And certainly there are people that should be independent. They don't work well with other people. That's completely fine. Potentially not the right industry if you're not a people person. With that being said, in our company, Muse Salon and Spa here in Atlanta, one of the things that has really set us apart in this industry is that we have been able to strategically every couple of years implement something new. And I would look to see what all these other companies were presenting and offering their employees. And I was like, I want to do the same thing. And I had become really tired of the idea. I won't go into the story. It's on a podcast. You can check that out with Qnity, where I talk about why we brought health insurance into our company. But it was because one of our stylists, her baby was diagnosed with cancer. And I took that weight home with me, and it really bothered me because she didn't have insurance. And as an employer, my job is to make people financially free, and give them peace of mind every day. So we were able to give health insurance, and then we figured out the math, and we were like, okay, if we really dig into the whole retail component, I want to have a bigger conversation with Timothy because he's obviously a genius. Hitting that retail component, we were able to then do 401k with 4% match. We had our meeting in January. We contributed over $3 million into our team's retirement. Our team will retire. When I ask at shows and classes, when I'm speaking or educating, I'm like, have you ever heard of a beauty professional retiring? And people laugh. I find nothing funny in that. We are professionals just like any other industry, and we need to treat that way and be treated that way. And then more importantly, or most recently, we were able to give paid time off. And one of my proudest moments in our salon is we brought a single mom in, which single moms always have my heart. Single mom into our company 17 years ago. She moved from Tennessee to Georgia to work with me directly. And I was so lucky. And I would tell you that I was going to train her after beauty school, but the reality was she trained me. And she's here in the salon with me today. And last year, her take home, she works 18 hours a week. She works 3 6-hour shifts, and her take home was $340,000 last year. And so when people talk about, they make more money independently, that is actually untrue. There's numbers to actually prove that point. Again, do what you need to do with your brand. But we have people that are genuinely making more than attorneys or physicians inside of our salons. And that makes my heart happy, especially when they don't have a dual income at home and they're able to take care of their kids in ways that they need to, especially if their kids have special needs or that kind of thing. So I put a quote in the chat. Imagine that, because I live my life by quotes. But if you want to go fast, or if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. So being with people, even this room right here, I feel elevated just by being with peers that have the same passion and drive that I do. And, I've learned from all of you today in the short time that we've had together. And I did message Erin for permission here, but I live in social media. I love social media. And the whole time that all of my new friends were up here talking, I was speaking Gen Z in my head. I'm like, clock it. Totally kidding. But anyway, I would love to do a little giveaway with you all. So the challenge is because I'm sure all of us leaders that are here on this call today, we don't know who we're talking to. We're talking to a computer. So we would love to actually see who you are. So what I want to ask, because you're in the beauty business, all of you already look amazing. Get your phones out wherever you are, whatever classroom you're in. Give yourself the biggest giant selfie you ever could. Serve the looks. Give it to us. And I want you to tag us on Instagram. So tag Qnity Inc. I'm going up here to make sure that I'm giving the right tags. Qnity Inc. and then Qnity for Schools. Get those two tags. And here's what the giveaway is. I want to give away 1 hour of a coaching class to a beauty school, 1 hour for free. To teach you how to brand yourself. And I promise you, it will be worth that 1 hour. So you better fight hard to get that.
Okay, let's put these in the chats. And Daniel is like, everyone here, you guys, is so freaking humble. Daniel is an influencer. I know you might not call yourself one, but you're also an influencer. He's
I'm a
got
lover of people.
he has 100,000 followers and he is a paid influencer for brands. I know every single Gen Zer would like to understand also the influencing game as well too. So Corinne has put these in the chats. We would really love to see you. I know it's hard when you've got like the Zoom thing on the classroom and all of you guys are in the big classrooms here, but we put it in the chat and all educators, you guys should know the Qnity handles. So Qnity Inc. and at Qnity Schools, I will tag everybody on here too. And we will also follow up an email. Daniel, thank you so much for that amazing gift.
I'm
And
excited to meet the winner.
yes, and we are 1 minute over. And as you said, as Haven said, this time that the individuals gave you guys on this panel, you guys, it is a huge gift. Many times you guys have teams that are doing the hiring for you. You guys just got to learn from the people behind all of these incredible brands, and I am really, really, really grateful for all of you. So, major round of applause, you guys. This is a professional industry, but that means you have to be a professional. If you're going to work for one of these professional brands, you have to show up as a professional, and that is not something you just learn in school. That's something you have to learn yourself. And so, of course, the Qnity programming helps with that, but you got to be open. You got to be curious. You got to continue learning. So now we're 2 minutes over, and I want to be really respectful. We will follow up with an email. Panelists, you are incredible. Thank you. And thank you
Thank
to
you.
all the next generation of students. Appreciate all of you.